All right, here is a video on ANSYS software where we can do finite element analysis. Okay, FEA or sometimes FEM, finite element method. So the first thing is this is the interface, but I'm going to show you from the beginning. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to ANSYS, the version you downloaded. You're going to scroll all the way down, and you're going to open up Workbench. Okay. It's going to take a little bit. Once it opens, you should have all of these systems, analysis systems on the left. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab a static structure and you're going to drag it over to like a red box. Okay. Now you can have multiple ones. These are 3 different projects that I've tested and done, but you could delete these and then start with A. Okay. That doesn't matter. All right. So I'm just going to create a new one, static structure, because it's going to be a static object where we're going to apply a moment or a force to it. Okay. Now, if you double click engineering data, you can identify your data. Okay. So here's structural steel. You can actually, if you wanted to, right click, say duplicate, and you can change the name of this to whatever. Okay. And then you can define its density. So say we change it to 3000, and then we change some of these so they're maybe a couple zeros less. Okay. Oh, double click and change them. Okay. So then we have a property. All right. I would just leave structural steel in here. Create and then duplicate and then change the properties based on what you're doing. Okay, you should be able to go to your data sources and find and edit the property or the material to say aluminum or whatever. Okay, I just like to basically duplicate, or say you have 2 different materials in your part, then you can define your materials, okay? Or 3 different parts, all right? So that's an engineering material. You can go ahead and click the X. So again, don't worry about A or B. I'm just focusing on this one. These are 2 that I've kind of did a test trial with. So engineering data, and then if you go to geometry, I like to right click and I go to design modeler, okay? So that's where you're going to do all of the designing in. Okay, that's one option. And with that, I'd just like to show you SDC Publications. They actually have a whole bunch of tutorials for this workbench. Okay, so there are right here, ANSYS tutorial release 2025. Definitely highly recommend getting this book, and it goes through different tutorials from how to draw in the design modeler, how to model, and then how to get your solution to work. Okay, but they go through gears like a gearbox. They do a whole bunch of different cool things. Highly recommend this company for their tutorials. Okay, now, so I'm going to show you this in a second, but we're going to go in there, and we're going to actually, instead of drawing it in there, which that publisher does, and you can do, I have used Inventor. Okay, and what I did is I created 2 parts, just a rectangle part here and just a slightly different rectangular part here, just to kind of show you that you can create 2 parts. And then what you can do is you're going to go to new, click assembly, and you're going to then place these parts here. Okay, hit escape. I'm going to then place part 2. Let's zoom out. Click it here, escape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine them. And again, this is just very, actually I wanted to do the top of this right here. and then I'm going to place this part right there. Okay, and then apply and okay, cancel. So now we've created two different parts because these two are now two different materials. So if you want to create a part, you can draw it in Inventor, but if you're going to have more than one material, you have to create an assembly file. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to Export CAD, and you're going to export it as a step file. Okay, and I've already done this, so I've already called it Assembly 1, and you click Save, and then you're good to go. Okay, so any program, Autodesk products, SolidWorks, whatever, make an assembly file, export it as a step file, and then we're going to bring it into Design Modeler. So if you open this up, it does take a little bit, so the faster, better computer you got, the better it's going to be. So you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Import External Geometry, and you're going to click the assembly file, click Open. Now it won't show up, but you have to go over here and click Import, and click Generate, and then boom, it's in here. Okay, so we have the two parts, and we can go ahead now. Now check your units. It's in meters. I think I drew it in millimeters, so you just want to make sure your units are right. You can go ahead and click X, and then it closes and it saves. See the check mark that we're good, and now we're going to go in and model it. So double click on Model. Again, this may take a little bit to load. Down here at the bottom it says starting mechanical, so just give it a second to load. And I'm on a Surface Pro 7 with an i7, so it does take a little bit. So it's still loading. Mismatch, that's okay. All right, let's try that again. Sometimes it does that. There we go. Okay, so I think my scale was wrong, but you can check that. So I just zoomed in here. For some reason I get that error, but then I double click it and it works. So, all right, so up here you got your geometry. What you can do is you click Part 2, and down here at the bottom is where you can change, let me make this a little bigger, your material. So I'm going to make Part 2 whatever, which was our second material, and then Part 1 was structural steel. Okay, so I've assigned those, and then what you're going to do is go to the mesh. For now, you could change these. The tutorials will go through, but I'm just going to right click and say generate mesh. It'll make a very generic mesh, which is fine for now, just to show you how this works. And then what we need to do is add, actually this is what I like to do. Wherever you think you're going to apply your force, click on it, the surface, right click, say insert, and these are all the things we can put in. But we're going to put a force, and we're going to do a component, and let's do, I think it's -500 newtons, okay? And then what we're going to do is, if you click the middle button, rotate, click this is going to be a fixed surface. Where are you? Fixed support. And then down here what you need to do is insert. We're going to look at total deformation, and then we're going to look at, whoops, click that, right click, and we're going to look at stress, and let's look at equivalent stress, and then go ahead and click solve, and now it's going to solve. Okay, and again, depending on the number of number of nodes and stuff you have, it may take longer. Okay, and then up here is, you can now look at total deformation, okay, and then stress. Okay, so a very quick video. You can draw in Design Modeler, you can draw in Inventor or SolidWorks. If you're going to have two different materials, make an assembly file, send it out as a step file, bring it in here, assign your properties, create the mesh, assign your structures, your moments, your forces, fixed supports, establish what you're going to look at for solution. So say we want, in order to do this, so say let's look at, is there, where is, did they move that? I thought there was a, I'm looking for, energy, where did that, oh, they must have moved it. I don't remember where the factor of safety went. That's okay. But say we want to look at another item. You have to click it, and then it won't do this. You actually have to solve again. Okay? And then boom. Okay, so just to let you know. And then also, they sometimes, like, see how exaggerated this is, but it's really small? There is a way to look at, and my screen might be smaller. Is it display? Selection. You got to change it to, or maybe, results. There we go. And then, let's see. Yeah, right here. So if you do true, then it's the actual true, like, deformation, not exaggerated. Okay. So what do we do? Auto scale. This is just an exaggeration to really show you what's happening. Okay. So pretty cool, pretty powerful. Again, this is the student version, so you're going to be limited on the number of nodes and elements, okay? But it gets you the background of what you need. All right, if you have questions, let me know. Have fun, and look forward to you learning this. Thank you.